Welcome to the Whitwam Wealth Real Estate Podcast. Today our episode is Market Speculation and Struggles.
Welcome to the Whitwam Wealth Real Estate Podcast with Scott Whitwam, your blueprint to financial abundance. Settle in as we explore the mindset and methods for wealth building through real estate.
So talk a little bit about that center and how it makes a difference for you, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, I always, I've gone to many, men's breakfasts or you meet up and stuff like that. And you always can tell when someone's going through something, just the way they talk.
Right.
Like people are afraid of trials, but the person that you are, if you're centered with God while you're going through that, you're like the closest you are with him. So even though things are rocky, you feel okay because you just the trust that you have in him. Mm-hmm. And I personally, I always ask God, I'm like, I love the way I am when I'm going through a trial because I feel close to you, but when things are going really well, how can I still be close to God? That I always ask him that as a challenge because recently we're reading A.W. Tozer. Have you ever? He is deep.
Oh yeah.
And
I love his book, The Pursuit of God.
Yeah. We bought the one that's the 3-in-1 is the knowledge of God and whatever. But
yeah, he is very insightful.
His outlook on God is just amazing. And it's like, I'm the more whatever I'm reading and what I'm personally learning is, just that the stuff in the Bible, how really true it is.
Right.
And then you have people who don't understand because we can't comprehend the God. They come up for excuses and reasons why everything happens when the Bible, to me, it's true.
Right.
It's the way things are. God created the heavens and earth, created light, created human.
Right.
Like everything he says, we all want to put like, oh, well, maybe one day was 1,000 years to God. How about
One
it
day.
is
One day
how
was
about
one
it
day.
is what it is? Because if he
Yeah.
is God and he's always been, he always will be, and he is going to be forever, like why would he not be able to do that?
Right.
And so, personally, that's what I'm kind of been going through is just like the awesomeness of God and putting my arms around that and trying to figure it out. But A.W. Tozer, in his book, he just talks about it in depth and he's so deep. And so, that's kind of what I've been going through a little bit. So,
yeah, well, it's hard to help somebody if you don't first help yourself.
Exactly.
You've got to be able to have something you can give to somebody.
Yeah.
And this gets back to that age-old argument that it permeated itself in our society today about rich people. Well, rich people provide jobs, right?
Yeah.
So take all the money from the rich people, then who's going to provide the jobs? Then your only answer is government, which a lot of people look to as their God. Government will provide for my food. Government will provide for my money. But really, it's about us building ourselves so that we're in a position to be able to give into every good work, to be able to help people, to be able to elevate people. But we have to first deal with ourselves.
Yeah.
I can't counsel you about right things if I haven't first learned myself right things. Yeah. And that's why I call the Bible the manual for life.
It is.
When you buy a car, they put this big, thick manual in the glove box, right? Yeah. It's the manual for how that vehicle operates, everything you're supposed to do to it, when you're supposed to service it, all that rest of the stuff. Well, the Bible is the exact same thing for humanity, for the creation of God. The days we're supposed to rest, the exercise we're supposed to get, the way we're supposed to treat people.
And it talks about money. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of verses on money.
Yeah, there's more verses about money than any other topic in the Bible.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, more than prayer, more than love, more than salvation, more than any of that. The Bible talks about money.
Yeah.
Over 2,350 verses in the Bible about finances and money. That's isn't that? So obviously, if that's the manual for life, money is very important. Yeah. Solomon said, money answers everything. Well, really, think about it. If you want to go on television and be able to tell people something, I don't care whether it's, talk program or education, whatever. But if you want to talk to people around the world, you need money to get on the satellite or put the satellite in the air. It takes money. If you want to build a building for your business, what does it take? It takes money. You want to hire employees, it takes what? It takes money. So money can be a solution. You need medical care. I mean, it takes money. Doctors get paid and lawyers get paid and all of that stuff. But God, in all his wisdom, realized that we should have the knowledge in order to be good stewards with the money, because then you get a perspective that money isn't something that is for me. It's something that God gives me stewardship over, so that I can have enough to take care of the needs of my family, which is godly, but enough left over to meet the needs of the world, which is also godly, about helping other people.
So what are some things you're doing to cope in this market and reinvent yourself? And what are some things
Well, it's been a time of reinvention, as you know, when we built our real estate company, I would say against probably good advice. When the markets are really good, all advice is good. Everybody has the answer for everything. And we set out to build a real estate company. And so I tell people it's a little bit different. So we built the real estate brokerage. I built my real estate business inside the brokerage, along with what my other agents do. Then we built the flipping company. Then we built the wholesale company. Then we built the construction company and added commercials. We do residential and commercial construction. And we built the coaching company. So the idea was to have a complete real estate company. Anything related to real estate we had. But I will tell you that when the market changed, it changed so severely on real estate that what we thought we were building with all of these spokes, so that if one thing went down, we would have these other. It managed to oppress everything down. And so we had to kind of reinvent. We had to say, okay, look, we can wholesale, but really to wholesale the way we were doing it, we were investing a lot of money in marketing. It was paying for itself. We had people, making phone calls constantly and doing all that. It was time consuming. You've wholesale properties. It was time consuming. So we said, hey, look, let's just, we're not going to, dissolve the company, but let's just stop, So we laid the people off. We got rid of everybody. We said, hold on, we'll go in, roll all that into our flipping company. And then, we'll take the wholesale stuff that comes. We went away from being aggressively at marketing, outwardly, to doing direct to seller only. So we don't work with wholesalers anymore. Now I know you guys do. But we just few. There's a few that you work with, but because the way that we do things, kind of back to my no money down, the solutions with wholesalers don't accomplish, kind of that goal. So we basically had to reinvent, the whole real estate program, how we were doing things, and really looking at what could be trimmed. So to do that, you can either just go, okay, hey, I'm just going to make all these things and just start cutting, or you can do what I do. Because when people go to work for me, they become family. It's tough when you've got to tell somebody, hey, you don't have a job anymore. Hey, we're shutting this down. That's tough for me because of my personality. Because when we bring somebody in, they become family. So there was a lot of introspection, a lot of prayer time, a lot of seeking God time. Because the thing outside of real estate, that we don't promote a lot on here, because I have another channel that we promote regarding our marketplace ministry and stuff. Being a full-time senior pastor, we had to do some of the same stuff at the church. Because when COVID hit, it changed everything. A great portion of people who attended churches and such, they started doing it by live stream. So they're not there anymore. So you got all of this changing. So we've got it in the real estate market, we've got it on the church side of things, and really had to make some tough decisions, but we really needed help, and it's kind of stuff that, when you say it's above my pay grade, you know what I mean? I mean, I could figure out, okay, I just get rid of everything, go back to being a real estate agent. That would be, but there's a reason why we are doing what we're doing. And I know it's for a future. So we don't want to abandon and give up on it. So we really had to look inside and get close with God on the decisions side of things to make sure that we were doing what needed to be done. I don't benefit anybody. I don't benefit my family. I don't benefit those in my coaching program. I don't benefit my real estate agents if I go out of business. So what are we going to do to do that. And I needed the wisdom of Solomon. James says, anybody lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all men liberally, and will not, bring reproach with it. He'll give it freely to you. And so that's kind of where I went.
Yeah.
And then just started being real sensitive to the things that we should do. Turned down a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It's fun saying no, though.
Yeah.
It's okay.
No's
okay.
empowering.
Yes, it is.
So there was a lot of things that I may have taken on before, but we really just said, hey, the numbers don't work. The timing doesn't work. The scope doesn't work for us, So I may not send my construction crew over to Buckeye to do a job. It's like, no, we're just not going to do that. Yeah. We're going to stay in the Southeast Valley and we'll take jobs over here. Yeah, we may lose some business over there, but I get rid of a lot of headaches that I have when I've got remote.
We do the same. We like people that are looking to build pad splits. We literally tell them East Valley.
Yeah.
And which it is to me a better area to have
right. Well, I'm with you on
product
that.
because I'm not a big fan of Glendale, Peoria, that area. Besides, it's 45 minutes or more away.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I'm so impressed with all the stuff that you've done. Like I've been doing real estate for 25 years and you put a lot of pieces together that I couldn't do. My brain doesn't work that way. I'm more of like vision, go.
Right.
And then she's the puts the pieces together, but you are doing both. And
but that's the neat
cool.
thing about what we're talking about here is every one of us have a different part to play in the kingdom process.
Yeah.
Right. I am not going to do 50 flips at a time. You know what I mean? It's not me. We did 7 at one time.
Yeah.
And I thought, what in the world am I doing?
Yeah.
And so I much rather do less of those flips. I much rather do less of those things. But you've got the systems.
Yeah.
And you've got.
Well, again, we're just plugging forward.
Right.
We're not giving up. Do I want to? I mean, I think we have, I don't know, maybe 15 going on right now or more, 15, 16. I don't know exactly how many because we just got one that are selling. So, but, that's our vision right now because, we want to catch up as fast as we can.
Right.
And so we're going 100 miles per hour, at my age. Like, I don't want to be grinding the way I'm grinding, but, I'm healthy. I feel good. And, God's keeping us going.
From struggle to celebration.
So, it's like, why not? So.
Yeah. And it's also like reinventing, like during this last 4 years, like we've had to relook at our crews.
Right.
Because the product of what we need, how things need to look at the end. And so we've made a lot of changes that way too. And just
where we purchase our stuff.
Yeah, that's a huge one. I mean, when you get in your Home Depot text, my phone's over there, so I'm sure there's some of them right now. But and you start really looking at what your guys are buying, and you're like, oh my gosh, they just spent $125 on a faucet. Well, guess what? I'm going to jump on Amazon. I'm going to find a faucet that looks equally as nice. And it's going to be $45. Right. So we kind of like streamlined it and took that buying ability from our trades away, but saying, okay, how many do you need? Let me get this. And I ship it directly to them, to their house. Yeah. And they are responsible for it. Or I hand it off, and everything. And that's just, the way that we had to make means.
But in this,
work.
In this economy, you had to look at everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you really did to make things work.
And Amazon's great too, because if something doesn't work out, you just send it back. Send it back.
Yeah.
So, in market changes and reinventing, like, it needs to be where you almost need to say, hey, honey, I'm going away for a day or two, and I'm just going to sit and I'm just going to figure things out, seek God, and just see what path they need to take. You need to quiet yourself down because everything's so busy. And when you're struggling and, you're trying to make ends meet, you just kind of need to shut it off and focus on what's next? What does God want me to do? And seek him and stuff like that. So we've had a lot of moments like that.
Yeah, and you had a good one just recently. I went away to Wisconsin. My son's moving to Madison. Okay. So Brian had a couple days by himself and he came back and his cup was full.
I just
read,
journaled,
he was so excited just
seeking God.
It's amazing when you get some quiet time.
Yeah.
I mean, I wrote a business plan on an airplane from here to Kona, Hawaii.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was a long flight.
Yeah.
So I just started writing, and everything that I had, because of all the busyness that happens when you're in the office, I just had this time. I just started writing in a journal, and I just page after page and drawings and pages and pages. And then when I got to Hawaii, I had the outline, you know, in order to put it all together.
Yeah.
So sometimes that quiet time,
Yeah.
when you can do that and you can get refilled, and the stuff that's, you know, that's in there that you haven't been able to let out because you just haven't had the time to focus. I mean, how many times during a normal day do you just have 2 hours of quiet time?
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, we have our mornings.
When you're
we have our mornings and stuff.
Yes.
But yes, you know,
but
we're
those-
still getting distracted.
those are
and stuff like
kind of
that,
more your
so.
focus on, you know, taking care and preparing for the day.
Yeah.
But just the other time. So, okay. So let's discuss one of a little section of writing that the Apostle Paul sent to the believers in Galatia, in Galatians chapter 6, 7 through 9. Now, I don't normally do this on this podcast, but I think it'd be really good because I think this will be very helpful. It doesn't matter whether you believe in God or not. The principles still remain. So Brian, verse 7 says, "Don't be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows." Why don't you give us a little bit of insight?
Yeah, I mean,
that.
this verse is one of those where it has, it can be so positive, but it also can be a punch in the face. And it's kind of what we've been talking
Right.
about with the market. You know, you if you ever just kind of took a step back and look back and you're like, how did I get here? Whether it's a relationship with your spouse, whether it's your body,
Right.
your business. And so, you know, that verse, you reap what you sow. I look at it, you know, obviously the whole verse is based on God and
Right.
what we're sowing and, you know, reading the Bible and learning his word and, you know, just how we're serving and obeying and all that stuff. That's what it's about. But if you look at it with business or with life, you reap what you sow. So, you know, the Bible that we have a life application Bible,
Okay,
NIV, and in the application it says, do you think that someone's planting watermelon seeds and they get apples? It's like, it's so important what you sow in every area of your life, you will reap a harvest. And so, you know, it's, if you want to get really deep, you kind of pause and you like think, put the end in mind.
Right.
You know, when I'm on my deathbed, the whole story has played out.
Right.
You know, what really matters is the relationships with your kids and your wife,
Right.
and you know, all this other stuff doesn't matter. But when you take it from there and you go back to our age or when you're younger, it's all these little things that you're planting.
That you're planting.
You know, and they're very. And the thing is, there's a book, The Slight Edge. It's a personal development, worldly book, but he talks about the concept of, you know, small little things done every day. They're easy to do. They're easy not to do. For an example, like if I go to the gym for a half hour, 5 days a week, over time, I will probably be in better shape. But it's also easy to sit on the couch, put the TV on and not do it.
And
so
not
you're
do
going
it.
down there.
Right.
But just in your relationships with your spouse, you know, if I'm continuing to date my spouse and during the day, I'm like texting her and, hey, baby, how you doing? How's your day? You know, I'm taking her out to dinner. I'm spending time with her. We're doing walks. We're reading. Like all those things, I'm planting seeds.
Right.
If I don't, I'm not going to have a good relationship.
Right.
And it goes with every area of life, you know. So, and the thing is like, as humans, we don't like that we reap what we sow sometimes.
Right. Absolutely.
Well, we're like, God cannot be mocked. We reap what we sow.
Right.
So we can't continue to live our life the way we shouldn't be in expecting to get a better result. Like God cannot be mocked. We reap what we sow. It's so in your face, this verse. It's one of the most powerful verses to me. I've got it tattooed.
Brian's first tattoo.
My first tattoo was that as a reminder, like you reap what you sow, you know, and the positive about this thing, no matter how old you are, no matter what you've done, you can start today as a fresh day. So that's the encouragement part of it. It's like, it's so in your face because like when you look back and you're like, man, I just totally messed up, and you can get in that guilt and that
Right.
shame. And then you're seeking God, and then you're like, okay, tomorrow's a new day. That's the thing about a 24-hour period.
Right.
The light, the moon comes out, and the
Right.
new day starts. And we're like, we have a chance every day to go to work, to put the work in, to seek God, to basically make amends for whatever we've done wrong. Like we can start fresh. We can
Right.
plant a new seed today, and in years it's going to reap. And that's why
Right.
we pray for our kids, and that's why we pray for our spouses.
Right.
And that's why we do what we do, because no matter how bad things are right now, like we all have brothers or sisters or kids that are, we know they're not where we want them to be, but we
Right.
pray for them. Right. And so it's just, it's a punch in the face where it's like, man, I need to change. But then it's so encouraging.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter who you are. You don't have to go very far to find this principle. I mean,
No.
you hear it all the time. People say, what goes around comes around.
Yes.
That's the same principle.
It is.
When people go, oh, karma. Well, that's what they're talking about.
Yeah.
They're talking about receiving the reward for the action that they took,
Yes.
so you don't have to,
Yeah.
to go that far. And I love that principle about how it starts new every morning,
It's,
because there's a scripture that says that though sorrow lasts through the night, joy comes in the morning.
Joy comes in the
Every
Good
morning
songs.
you have an opportunity to wake up and create a new whatever you want.
Yeah.
And it's a new day. You can create a new life. You can create a new business. You can create a new opportunity. You can create a new relationship. Whatever it is you want to do, you have the ability to start afresh.
Yeah.
If you choose to.
If you
Yeah.
choose to.
Problem is most people don't choose to.
No.
and it's choosing like what you're choosing to focus on. It's not the world. It's focusing on God while you're
Right.
planting your seeds.
While you're planting your seeds.
Because like you said, he's
Yep.
the giver of all the knowledge.
Yep.
Like being close to him is where we find our peace, our comfort, and our love. And so, yeah, I love that verse.
Yeah.
So
That's a good one.
Digging deep, and you go to your car, you open up that glove box when you need to know how something works.
That's right.
Digging deep and going back to the
Going
Bible,
back
because
to it.
that's the manual for us. And when we're lost or had a bad day, start your day fresh, recreate
It's
yourself.
got tons of examples, Gina, like you're saying,
Yeah.
of what things you should be sowing so you can reap the things that you want to grow.
yeah.
It's like Brian said, if you want apples, don't go plant a watermelon, tree
watermelon.
and expect watermelons, apples to
Yeah.
grow on it.
And it's
Yeah.
hard. Like, Scott, real quick, I'll probably ask you, you're the expert on it. So there are people out there that maybe just don't have, they're not maybe made that way where they can, put the work in or start fresh. Like they're stuck. Like, what would you say to them in that person who's just frozen, or maybe they're turning to booze or whatever instead of God? Like, what would you?
Well, there's
say
a
to them?
principle. It's called transformation. We are to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. And for those of you who watch my channel very often, you'll see that I do mindset gems every week. We put them out. It's about the condition of your mind determines your destination in life. So when you're stuck and you're frozen, you've got to do something with your mind. You've got to change your mindset. You got to change the way it is. And the great thing about where we live today in this environment. So somebody may say, well, I'm an atheist. I'm agnostic. I don't want to read the Bible. I'm not interested. Okay, great. But there are a lot of self-help books. I just got done reading Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Yeah.
Just got done reading Maltz's book on cybernetics. I mean, there's lots of things out there, lots of books out there that have the principles. Here's the really interesting thing. And I've been to secular and religious seminars, but for businesses. And here's the really interesting thing is all of the principles that it doesn't matter whether they call themselves atheists or agnostics, the principles that they're teaching in these business seminars can be found in the Bible.
They all stand.
Like
Okay.
our manual.
Every good book.
It's in our manual.
Every book.
So,
Think
yeah.
and Grow Rich. All
All
Napoleon
of
Hill.
those, Napoleon Hill's
stem from the
books, all of those
principles of
things,
the
they
Bible.
grab from those principles. And so what I'm saying, I guess, to your question is just go grab one of these books. I mean, Think and Grow Rich is a great place to
Yeah.
start. If you're stuck if you're like, I don't even know what step to take, and you don't want to go and read the Proverbs of Solomon, go get a book like Napoleon Hill's book. Go get a book like Stephen Covey's book.
Yeah.
There are lots of books out there that can help you start to think differently, because it's the old Einstein quote, to continue to do what you've always done and expect a different result is insanity.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when people get stuck. They think this is where they're stuck. They continue to do the thing that got them stuck, and they continue to stay stuck, when their transformation, their relief, their way out of that prison is only a decision away.
Yeah.
By changing
It's
somebody's
funny
mind.
that you said that, and I totally, that's awesome. And I notice when, if we're in a disagreement, which some, it happens, for humans, we both can find each other sitting in a chair reading a book, the Bible typically, or another book, but and you do that, and then your mind's off your problems a little bit. You get this healthy little, where you're like, okay, I feel better. And it calms you because you're renewing your mind.
Right.
Right. And then you're like, okay, we're back.
Mm-hmm.
We're back. Let's talk about this now.
I found that out, whether I'm dealing with investors, whether I'm dealing with people in counseling sessions, doesn't matter whether it is, that if I can get them to agree to take a step to transform their mind, I can get them from where they are to where they want to be.
Yeah.
But if they won't make that choice, if they won't make that decision to transform it, then they'll continue to sow seeds that got them in the place where they are, because they'll continue to produce the same crop.
Yeah.
And so,
Well, it's like what Einstein said.
Yeah.
Like, it is exactly, you reap
Yeah.
what you sow. Exactly what he said, just
Yeah.
in a different words.
and it's fun.
And sometimes you have to reach those individuals,
Right.
not from a biblical point of view.
Right.
You have to know. I have some certain individuals in my life, my children, that I have to know what type of words to use that would resonate with them. If I start quoting scripture for them, they're going to shut it off, even though we're planting little seeds and stuff. But if I were to start quoting Einstein, then their eyes perk up. And then you can kind of tie that in all together. You got to get them in that mindset.
You can start quoting some of the great philosophers and Einstein, because, but here's the greatest, the greatest person who ever lived and was the best at doing this was Jesus.
Yeah.
He told people exactly what was in the Torah, the Old Testament, in parables, and they didn't understand it, but they would listen to it because they weren't offended by it.
Yeah.
They weren't. And so sometimes, and that's why I say, for me, I think the Bible has the best answer, but not everybody's going to go read the Bible. So go find that self-help book that you will read that has the principles in it that will help to change your mind. It's just the same way you just tell a different parable to your children with the same principles, but they listen because they think it's coming from a perspective that they already agree with.
Yeah.
And it can help transform
Yeah.
the situation.
And we all have people in our life where you just feel bad. They're stuck. And obviously if it's family, sometimes it's hard for us to be that messenger of come on, get your crap together, read the Bible, go to church, stop doing this. And this, it's just hard. And you feel for them. And so all we can do is pray. And then I don't know. That's why I asked you the question, because I know there's a lot of people out there, it's probably 80-20 where the people are just stuck and they don't know what to do. And what we're talking about is reaping what you sow. They're having a moment where they're like, man, I have just messed up.
Right.
And so we call that, remember the day of disgust?
The day of disgust that we talked about.
So it's just the hope of that person out there, that they can, hopefully find some encouragement by what we're talking about. We've all, we've all messed up and we've all made those mistakes. Other personal development or podcasts would tell you to, pick up your bootstraps and try harder. We're going to tell you to seek God. And we're going to tell you to dive into his word. And I don't care what you say, I will 100% guarantee you that, you will be in a better place a year from now if you read scripture every day. It's just, I will guarantee you that. I will put that stamp on there.
Brian stamp of
guaranteed.
I guarantee it. And so, that person, that I have a heart for that person.
Yeah. Well, when I
Because-
couldn't walk, my mom helped me take my first step, right?
Yes.
When you're a baby, that's how it works. So
Yes.
you got to take that first step. All right. Verse 8.
Okay.
All right. We still got 2 more verses to
I
go
know,
here.
I
Galatians.
know.
The one who sows to please his sinful nature, from that nature will reap destruction, and the one who sows to please the Spirit, from the Spirit will reap eternal life. And so let me jump on this one.
Yeah.
There are things that we can do that bring positive results, and there's things that we can do that bring negative results. Now, when you're 20 years old, you don't care, right? You're going to live forever. You're 20. It's back. I mean, obviously, a lot of kids are sowing their oats.
Yeah.
Their party days, their college, frat days, all
The
those.
world revolves around that.
The world revolves around them. And so they make a lot of decisions that are destructive to their long term,
Yeah.
right? If we had all of the knowledge that we have now, when we were 18,
Oh,
we would have created an entirely different life,
We
right?
would have.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know anybody who
absolutely.
is not in that place. So when we take actions that don't benefit not only ourselves but others, we end up reaping those. They come back to us. One of the things that we just did this morning, we shot one of our mindset gems this morning, and we were talking about that very thing, about taking the right actions in life. Because if we don't take the right actions in life, we're going to get a response that we don't like.
Yeah.
So for instance, Brian, you couldn't get up in the morning, every morning, and eat a chocolate cream pie, right? I mean, you couldn't.
He
No.
probably could.
He probably could,
No, not like
but he
chocolate.
wouldn't look like he looks now,
No,
right?
no.
At some point, though it tastes good,
Yeah.
though it makes you feel good, you enjoy it, all of that stuff, the corresponding results from it are all bad.
Yeah.
They're anti-health, they're anti-longevity, they're anti-vitality, which you
Yep.
need for the day. And that's what a lot of people are doing, though.
Yeah.
They get up in the morning and, they take some action. My mom, she smoked until she was in her 40s, right? She got up in the morning, first thing she'd do was light a cigarette.
Yeah.
In fact, I've seen 2 people in the last week out doing health walks smoking. I'm like, why are you enduring this heat to try to get healthy and smoking? But the reality is, it's a choice that they made.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I understand addictions and all of that kind of stuff, but at some point, you've got to make a decision that the action you're going to take today is going to bring about a corresponding better action. And so, we make the decision: do we get the biggest plate in the restaurant and tell them to fill it with food and we eat it
Yeah.
all? I mean, man, when I was in my 20s, I would.
Yeah.
You give me a 20-ounce steak, baked potato with
Yeah.
bacon on it, and
Yeah.
everything else that went with it.
Yeah.
And then I would have dessert, right?
Oh, but the dessert is so good.
It is so good. But I can't do that now and expect to be healthy. I have to take healthy actions. So, I eat sandwiches with no bread,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I eat vegetables regularly.
Yeah.
I try to avoid, sweets. It seems like everybody's having birthday parties all around.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll have a bite just to not offend you, but that's it.
But that's it too, though, because you're
you
saying
know.
I don't eat it, but you can.
you can.
in
Yeah.
in moderation.
In
If you
moderation.
think about everything in moderation.
Yeah.
So instead of eating that full chocolate cake, I'm going to have a sliver of this.
Right. And when I was a
Everything.
teenager, I would have a piece of chocolate cake, and then I'd see everybody had a piece and there was more left, and I'd go get another piece,
Yeah.
The-
But that is a really good point when you're talking about like youth,
Right.
and if there's younger people out there, you don't know that something may be addictive to you, whether it's
Right.
food or drug. I remember when Zach was little, my son, I'd drive him around, look at houses and stuff. And you go to Phoenix and there's homeless people.
Right.
There's, people living in a tent and stuff like that. And I look back at Zach and we were driving, it was quiet. I'm like, you could be one bad decision away from being in
there.
that tent.
Yeah.
Because some people have that addictive. I'm going to try this drug one time and then they're there.
They're there.
And so that's another thing that you brought up that came in my mind of like protecting yourself from that. And a lot of people these days, it's food.
Right.
It's food. That's where they feel their comfort, and they're not satisfied, and they're eating their anxiety away, and it's easy. So having those boundaries, that's important.
Yeah, I think it's important. Now, the other thing, back to the shoot we were doing, I started on, I was talking about the golden rule. See, a lot of people forget that the golden rule is not just about what it does for other people. Remember, do unto others as you'd like them to do unto you, kind of thing, right? Mm-hmm. So we think, oh, that's so that we treat other people well. But do you know what happens when you treat other people well? A feeling, because there's chemicals released in your mind, a feeling of euphoria and well-being come upon you when you help other people. That's why, when you feed a homeless person or a hungry person in downtown Phoenix, when you give into your missions programs and you know that it's doing something somewhere in the world, we've got a feeding program that we've been doing for 20 years in the Philippines. And we get to see that we've seen the kids when they're this big, and now we've seen the kids that they're growing up. Yeah. These kids parents had left, they had no food. It does something to you. And it's the same thing with when you help somebody. Let's say that you've got a skill or a knowledge that somebody else could use to better their life. Well, instead of trying to hoard that, find a way to give it away. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that you can't be a coach and if you got skills and people can't hire you, but why don't you find somebody who's not in a position to pay you and help them? Yeah. Do something for them. Make a difference in somebody's life. Give somebody who needs a drink a bottle of water. Go do something for orphans and widows. Go do something that's going to help somebody who cannot repay you. Yeah. And it actually will make you a stronger person on the inside, and it will help to fill a lot of those deficiencies that people try to cover up with drugs, alcohol, sex, and all the rest of it, overeating, whatever it is, they try to cover that up. Because, when we sow in areas of righteousness, it brings about well-being for ourselves. Yeah. And so I guess that's the last I would throw down.
That's really good though. I mean, because they always talk about service, just getting out and serving other people however that may be, whether it's through your church or whether it's through your business and you're spreading the knowledge that you have. You always walk away feeling a little bit better. And what a beautiful thing that that all it is just helping people. Right. And it goes back to, what did Jesus do? Right. Yeah. That's all he did.
And we all have God created us for a purpose. And when we're seeking that purpose or when we're not doing that purpose, we just kind of flounder, right. And so that's one thing, we're always praying, how do you want me to serve? Samuel, here I am, Lord, send me, I want to be used, but it's hard to be used when you're so busy and frantic, quieting down and reading scripture. And because God made us a certain way, he gave us all the gifts. So when we're living outside that purpose, we're just not going to be content. And
that podcast we did on the Day of Disgust, I think really explained that really well. Yeah. I mean, that's when I would encourage people to go back and listen to, because it really talked about when you get in that thing, how do you get out of it? Yeah. And there is a way out. There is. So that's good. Okay. Yeah. Verse 9. Gene, I'm going to throw this one at you.
I have my notes.
Let us not become weary in well-doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up.
Okay, for me, this is the biggest do not quit ever. A little bit about me. Growing up, I was the biggest quitter in the world. You could ask my brother Jimmy about we'd set up these elaborate games. We get, life all set up and put everything, and we would start and I'd be like, I quit. And he would get so mad. He would cry and go and run and tell my mom, Gene, I quit. And so I just got in this habit of, I quit. I'm not proud to say, recently counted, by the time I was 30, I had over 25 jobs.
Wow. And knowing her, does it seem that she would ever be that?
It
type of
doesn't.
person?
From the Gina I know.
She's told me story. I'm like,
I know.
Like, and so it's the transformation, of
Right.
God, you know,
Yeah.
because
Absolutely.
she tells me this stuff. I'm like, you never run. You're like, let's go, let's tackle this. And I'm like, she tells me a story. I'm like, who is this person?
Yeah, so this one was a challenge for me, but I think it's with, like Brian's saying, that whole transformation of you know what, I have to continue to do the good work, and like we talked in the beginning, we were talking about, you know, the shifts in market. That was huge for us. That old Gina was like, all right, throw it away. Like, we're upside down. Like, we're holding this big, gigantic bag. How are we ever going to get through this? And we just prayed a lot and went to trustworthy people that we knew us, followed God, and looked for advice and had each other's back. And, you know, Brian was a big encourager when I would be like, I can't do this. Like, this is too much. You know, he's like, no, we can do this. We're going to do the right thing. And really, we all get tired. We're overworked. We're
Right.
exhausted. We're overcommitted. We put so much time into what we have to do that it's easy to become weary. But God just wants us to keep pushing forward, because if we don't push forward, you know, where are we going to be? And we know that eventually we'll get that harvest. You know, we might not have watermelons growing out of apple trees, but we continue to do good. We'll see his
Right.
reward. I truly believe that. Another little example is a couple years ago, we are a blended family, and that's not without its challenges and stuff. And there was a time that we were having some problems with the kids and just communication. And Brian and I felt like, oh, we continue to reach out to them. Oh, we continue to ask them to come over, or we call them, and we would get nothing.
Right.
Nothing back from anybody. And it was very hurtful. And like, we really struggled with it. And we just said, no, this is what we're supposed to do. We're going to continue to do the right thing and reach out pray for them and send them our love. And over time, those relationships changed. And
now they're better than they've ever been.
They're better
Yeah.
than ever. But it was many times, it's like, you know, you text somebody and you don't ever hear back from them. And part of you, the human part of you, goes, you know what? I don't want to deal with this anymore. I'm going to stop reaching out. I'm not going to do this. But, you know, God wants us to continue to do the work he has for us.
It was, taking ourselves out of the equation and
Right.
thinking about their hurts and stuff. Because obviously, you know, going through a divorce is never easy.
Right.
And each kid, person, family handles it differently. And so we just loved them, prayed for them, and, you know, we're around when we could be and there when they needed. And then now it's, you know, I feel that we're like closer than we've ever been. And it's
Right.
so many magical just blessings that you get from that. So,
Yeah, one of the greatest quotes I ever heard was a friend of mine. Well, I'll say acquaintance of mine. He was being interviewed, and he was asked that with the type of organization that he had, all of these other people who had come and gone out of business, but that he managed to flourish when others couldn't. And they asked, what was his secret to success? And his answer was very simple. He said, I lasted. That was it. I lasted. He didn't give up. He didn't get weary when it was hard.
yeah.
He didn't give up when it was too challenging. He didn't get up when people said bad things about him. He continued to go on. He lasted. He persevered through it. I mean, could you think of a farmer
Yeah.
who prepares his field, plants his seed, waters and tends everything, and when his crop gets halfway grown, he stops doing anything,
Yeah.
right? Now all the weeds grow up. The good stuff starts to die because it doesn't have water.
Yeah.
Because he gave up, because he was weary, couldn't endure.
What was that book? 3
to
Feet
the-
from Gold?
3 foot from gold.
3 Foot from Gold. Yeah. Do you remember that book?
I don't remember that one.
My goodness, I'm supposed to remember it. But anyways, the story.
I'm sure it's in our library.
He was mining for gold, and then his
Oh, I
machine
do
broke down or
remember
something.
you told me this,
And then
yes.
the next guy came
Next
in.
guy
and
came in
he was
and bought
3
it.
feet
He was
away
3
before
feet
he
away
quit.
from gold. Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, gold or something, mineral.
Yeah, no, it
Yeah.
was gold.
It was
I
gold,
do.
yeah.
I do remember
Yeah.
the mine. Yeah. But that's a story for life.
It is.
Is that a lot of times our biggest victories are just beyond what we look at as defeat.
Yeah.
When we think we can't go any further, we think we can't do any more, and we give up. And really, if we had persevered and pushed through, our victory was laying there ahead of us.
And it's God's timing, and people don't necessarily like God's timing,
right?
Because in growing weary, it's like, and it goes with actually all three of our verses is just continuing to do it, continue to put the work in and reading and the stuff that you do that is healthy. And then also like there's stuff that everybody who's listening, and us included, there's stuff that we need to stop, that we need to remove from our life, and we've talked about this in other podcasts about, social media. People spend all their lives on social media and TV and all the stuff that they're doing, like feeding your brain, continuing to pray for those in your family who are struggling, and continuing to do the right things. We will reap a harvest, and it's not going to be when we want it.
Right.
It could be years and years from now. We may not even see it.
Might even see it. Yeah. Generational.
It's okay, but that's the growing weary of just like, and not giving up.
Yeah.
And it's hard.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, this podcast would be easy to go, well, the real estate market's not good. I'm speaking to real estate investors. It would be easy just to not do this because there's a lot of these smaller, or the people that got into real estate investing, then the market changed and now they're out and the market's not there anymore.
Yeah.
But we keep doing it. Why?
Yeah.
Because we have a vision for a future, and we're not going to be moved by the economy. And even though that some of these things are a struggle, whether it's flipping homes, whether it's renting homes, whether it's patching, whenever the struggles are there, whenever the problems are there, some government regulator comes in and tells you can't do short-term rentals or whatever, we just continue to persevere because we have a vision that's far beyond today. We're not going to give up.
And we know that real estate, like the founding principles of real estate are there, and they probably will always be there.
Right.
So whether you're going through ups and downs, the last 4 years are tough, but what about the 10 or 11 before that, when we were doing 50,
good.
60, 70, 80, $100,000 a flip?
Yeah.
So, I can stay in it then, but then when they get tough, I should just go run and hide. I'm just not going to do that, because I feel like real estate has the basic principles that the majority of the people on this earth who are wealthy are involved in real estate.
Yep.
So why am I going to run?
Yeah, history says the markets are going to
Plus, I don't know what the heck
themselves.
else I would do.
They're going to come out. So
I don't know if I can do anything.
We're good. We'll just reinvent ourselves.
Just reinvent
along
yourself.
The way.
That's right.
all.
That's the
We'll
whole
just
thing I was talking about. How to reinvent yourself. Well, we need to close it up. This has been an awesome time. I want to thank you for joining me on this episode of the Whitwam Wealth Real Estate Podcast. Be sure to check out our growing list of previous episodes and other real estate investing topics. I invite you to subscribe today and be part of our growing community. You can always find the Whitwam Wealth Real Estate Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you enjoy listening to podcasts. This is Scott Whitwam. Be sure to join our next episode of the Whitwam Wealth Real Estate Podcast, where we're wealth building through real estate.